Here we go. Seller wants to list above the competition, right? These are the objection, guys. These are the most common objections that people, when it comes to pricing objections. Here we go. The seller wants to list above the competition. We can list high. However, this will put us at the high end of the competition. At the high end of the price range, you can expect to remain on the market for blank months. Query timing need, this option should be unacceptable. Wouldn't you agree? No, Mike, I got all the time in the world, right? I know it's coming next, Don't worry, I got you. You know, Mike, I have all the time in the world, Mike. I just want to get my price. I completely understand. But Sally, you know, here's what's going to happen, Sally. You know, your competition, now that you've priced above the competition, okay, and above what the other houses have sold for, way above, the challenge for this, if the market is on a decline or a market is a flat market, those other houses will sell first and you'll be continually chasing them. I love visuals. You'll continually chase the market going this way. You see, when the market is going up and there's lines of people outside, loads of people outside, you're chasing the price in this way when the market's going up. See, the market's transitioning, we're here, perhaps straight ahead like this, market's transitioning, sometimes people will break from the pack, meaning other sellers, and realize, well, I can't get it sold, so what are we gonna have to do? I have to get to my house in New Jersey, Florida, Connecticut, wherever, it's gonna go like this. Which way do you wanna be chasing, Sally? So seller wants to disregard the competition. Well, we can do that, but looking at our competition, there appears to be months of inventory available. Now, guys, during this time, the inventory is actually quite low. The inventory is quite low, but let me say this though. Although inventory is quite low, we are in uncertain economic times right now. Yes or yes? So if inventory is quite low, do you want to be around when inventory swells, when inventory rises? Do you want to be around for that? No, but Mike, I don't think inventory is going to rise. Guys, then you go back to your data. Well, let's look at the data. 8 years of growth, inventory is low, buyers are not buying as they once were. If inventory starts to rise, buyer demand starts to kind of come down a little bit. What do you believe is going to happen, Sally, the seller? Well, you know, maybe the prices will go down, but I still want my price. See, you just want to hit them so they understand where you're coming from, validating. Sometimes it takes a few minutes, sometimes it takes a day for them to process this information. The previous agent told me it was the wrong time of the year. Oh my goodness, this is another trouble one, guys. Right? Well, because of the stay-at-home order, because of it's the holiday season, it's the new year, it's spring, it's fall, it's hot out, it's cold out. That's why it didn't sell. Well, per my research, homes sell throughout the whole year. Your previous agent was simply misinformed. And this is maybe sometimes you're working on an expired listing. You know, those agents are like, well, I'm going to go back with my other agent. He or she just told me it's the wrong time to sell. It's the wrong time of the year. Back it up by data. Show them that other houses have sold. Okay. Bottom line, guys, use once you have exhausted your justification. So you see Mr. or Ms. Seller, finding an appropriate price for homes is not an abstract philosophy. We have the opportunity to know and understand what buyers in the areas are doing. Right? Show them the data. Stop just saying, I'm the pro, I'm number one in my company, I've got all these reviews. Show them the data. Because when markets transition and go into a more buyer's market, okay, you are going to need data or you're going to see a lull in your business. You will see a lull in your business. I can guarantee it. Why? History repeats itself. I've seen some of the best agents who are so accustomed to not providing this valuable service to their clients, data, helping them make an informed decision, that when the market transition, they suffer, right? They hold 20 to 30 listings and they weren't used to having these conversations and they're wondering, oh my goodness, the market's coming down on me. I got to generate more leads and more leads and more leads. And as they're generating more leads, more listings are expiring, and it's like a freaking hole in the boat. You can't catch it, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger because they're not changing their strategy during a transition market where it's over delivery on information, making sure the seller's reassured that you've done everything possible to get the best price. For those sellers that are stubborn, sorry. Here we go. Big house, small house. Sorry about that. Let's go into big house, small house. The message that is delivered when sellers want to list the wrong range or start high and then come down. Isn't it true that a lot of people say, you know, Mike, I want to start high because they usually negotiate down, right? Guys, this is not the market. It's not a flea market. You don't come in there and if something's laying on the table for 10 bucks, you offer them 7 and then you meet them in the middle at 8.50 maybe, I don't know. That's not the market. You see, what's interesting about the market, if you look at the data trends in MLSs locally and nationally, there's some very specific numbers, list to close ratios. So many agents are just winging it and they're not paying attention to the local list to close ratios. And again, you didn't provide the information to the seller and tell them about these list to close ratios. You didn't even show them. You might have told them, but you didn't even show them. Lazy. And I say lazy and give it because I'm so glad I'm not talking to one particular agent, but it's lazy. If you're not providing information and you want to get those big commissions, you're just lazy. It only takes a couple of minutes to show them the list to close ratio, not only in their building and their zip code. It only takes a few minutes, guys. And then it'll take them off their high horse in many cases with the whole, well, start high because they're going to hit us low. You don't need unmotivated sellers in your life. You really don't, guys. If you want to learn from my mistakes over the course of my career, okay, you don't need unmotivated sellers. And here's some of the things they'll say. We've done all this updating over the past year. Oh, we've all done this updating. And then really you found out that they updated about 30 years ago, right? They imported that magical tile from Europe from 30 years ago. And I'm sure 30 years ago, it probably had a very high value. And today it is probably beautiful, but people know that it's 30 years old or even a couple of years old. So, right, so when they've done all this updating over the past year, you say this, I appreciate that. And in the buyer's eyes, this may mean you've simply brought the home up to selling standards. Hit them, right? You understand that? Let me go back. I appreciate that you've upgraded the property in the past year, but in the buyer's eyes, this may mean that you've simply brought the home up to selling standards, right? Right. Here's one thing that they say. I put new kitchen cabinets. Ooh, but the fridge is from 15 years ago. Obviously, you wouldn't say that to them. But it's the point of that they did all this updating over the year, and you probably did the updating because you thought you were going to sell. So you wanted to bring it up to speed so it's more marketable. They don't see it as above market price. You brought it up to what other properties sell for or what others would trade for. See, if you were a buyer and two similar homes were for sale, one for a higher price, one for a lower price, which would you suy? And guys, I know this is these are ridiculous questions, but it helps people get to self-discovery. It helps people get to self-discovery. Wouldn't you agree most buyers would feel like you? Is this going to be an issue? If yes, go to the win-lose dialogue. See, remember, upgrades were taken into consideration when analyzing property conditions. See, when I came in and priced this property, you told me you upgraded it, and I did take it into consideration. And also the amenities. and thus should be reflected when positioning the home within the correct value range. Other pricing challenging. See, the leverage is in the listing, guys. Joe said he would list my home above market. Of course he did. How did Joe, see now, when they talk about other agents, you got to seek to understand, seek why they believe Joe, because listen, everybody wants to be a dreamer, right? If Joe, the agent from ABC Realty, the competition, priced it above the market, of course he did. You should ask that homeowner, well, how did Joe justify the price? They may be the type of agent that just won it, right? They just went in and said, oh, you know, I believe this house is worth $2 million. Right, so now go in. How did Joe justify this price? Did he share his numbers with you? Do you have a copy of the presentation? Do you think that buyers have done, do you think what buyers have done in past buying situations is important? Do you think Joe is the only telling you what he thought you wanted to hear? Please understand, I'm okay with listing the home at 275, right? And I'm just using any old number, or 2.75. If we can justify 2.75, you guys are working together. The seller and you are working together to arrive at the proper entry price into the marketplace. You are not an appraiser. You're trying to get the proper entry price, the proper marketing price into the marketplace, right? Otherwise, so here we go. Please understand, I'm okay with listing the home at 2.75 million if we can justify 2.75 million. Otherwise, I would consider that a win-lose relationship. And with me, it's win-win or no deal. You see, and when I say it's a win-lose relationship, I mean it would be a win for either Joe or me and a lose for you. See, it's opinion that Joe has agreed to take your listing at such a high price because he wants to use your home as leverage. What do you mean, Mike?